Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to a way too early 2028 prediction that very likely will never be happening, but it is interesting to think about the idea of the 22nd Amendment getting repealed and both Donald Trump and Barack Obama being able to run, and then it sets up the ultimate heavyweight presidential matchup of the 21st century, which would be Obama, who won both times in 2008 and 2012 against Donald Trump, who won in 2016, lost in 2020, but then won again in 2024. So it is the ultimate matchup. Would this ever happen? It's very unlikely. I think it's mainly based on Trump's age and just the idea of being able to repeal this amendment. There are possibly other things they're trying to do. I know there's a Republican congressman who has said, yeah, maybe we should do, I don't know if it would be a new amendment or something to make it to where Trump would be able to run again because his first two terms were not consecutive, but Obama wouldn't be able to. Obama is also getting older, but I think the big problem is Trump, if this goes through and he actually was able to run again, he would be, or I believe, 82 years old. If Trump was like 70, I would say all bets are off. And with the economy, the investment coming into the United States, I know it's not great right now, but it's set up to where Trump is going to have a very good U.S. economy as long as there's no crazy global pandemic by the year 2027 or in 2028 going into that election. And so you would think, well, Trump, if he's got a good approval rating, he would want to run again. Right now, he's ineligible. You can see it states that no person can be elected president more than twice. There are interpretations. I think it's the 12th Amendment. There are interpretations to where maybe Trump could run as VP and then take over as president. But listen, let's just say for the sake of the argument, liberals realize they've got no one, and they're like, well, we'll do this as long as we can run Obama, and then it's a Trump versus Obama. Very unlikely, but it's just, you know what? It's just a scenario to go through with Trump, Obama. It is the ultimate heavyweight matchup. So I'm going to go through all these states. Obviously, Washington, Oregon, California, all going to be going to the Democrat, Obama. Also Hawaii, certainly Obama. There's no doubt he would perform better, we would expect, than Kamala Harris. I would say, although I don't know, we'll see with JD Vance or whoever it ends up being, but Kamala was just, in terms of the popular vote and just overall, terrible in 2024. Then you've got all these Republican states, of course. I'm just going to fill all of these in. You've got Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas. New Mexico would go to Obama. I mean, you could maybe argue it would be closer. But again, when you're talking about slightly bigger margins for Obama, there was an approval that was done between both Trump and Obama. I think Trump is sitting at a 50% approval in this just random poll. Obama was at around 47. Colorado is shifting even further to the left at this point. Utah will be to the right. I'm going to leave the swing states because why not? So Nevada, Arizona, they'll still be swing states probably in 2028. Arizona is a state that I'll be watching the polls, in 2027, just because it was around a 5-point victory. Out of all the swing states, Arizona was the biggest margin. It was the only margin over 5. So that's one to potentially watch. You do have Republicans possibly talking about Minnesota. I think it's unlikely. What did Trump lose Minnesota by? Around 5 points. Not terrible. But with Obama in 2028, the Minneapolis area, the surrounding suburbs, I don't think it's going to happen for Trump if this scenario ends up coming through. Iowa, obviously, will be going to Trump. Nebraska. So here's what I think what's going to happen with Nebraska. They're going to change it to winner take all. Their state government's going to do that. So it's going to allow Trump to pick up another electoral vote. Obviously, in a scenario, you could maybe make the argument the Omaha area, which is the 2nd district, which is the district that Democrats win, would go to Obama. But it's going to change to winner take all. Maine possibly. You know what? In this scenario, we'll say both of them change. So we'll just give Obama all of Maine, just because they really shouldn't do that. But in the other scenario, it would be Trump taking the 2nd district in Maine. That's the one district Republicans can win. Although you could also make the argument Maine at large, it's not totally out of the realm of possibility. Republicans win. Trump can be competitive in terms of Maine at large. Obama would not be competitive in Nebraska at large. So you're talking about 4 total electoral votes versus 5 total electoral votes. If both of them become winner take all, which they really should be. I mean, we should have the same thing throughout the entire nation. Some people think it should be by districts throughout the entire country, but I think it should, if every other state is winner take all, it should be winner take all. So for this, I'll just give the winner take all Maine to the Democrat and Nebraska obviously to the Republican. Obviously, all of these SEC states will be going to Trump. You've got Illinois that would undoubtedly go to Obama, even though it did move. I mean, it was kind of disappointing with Illinois. The final margin ended up being a bit higher than it was looking like it was going to be an 8-point margin. I think it ended like 11.5 to 12. So, I mean, I wouldn't be able to predict the exact margin on Illinois, but with Obama, yeah, Obama would win Illinois. Really, any Democrat's going to win Illinois. There's the one state you could maybe say out of like the pure Democrat states would be a New Jersey in terms of flippability for Republicans in 2028. Obviously, now Florida and Ohio are both Republican states. Very important for the electoral math for any Republican in 2028. The fact that both of those states are Republican now. Liberals have made Georgia a swing state. They won it in 2020. Trump won it again in 2024. It's tough. You look at the suburbs, not great. When you look at all the swing states, there were some, even though Republicans won all the swing states, there were some bad movements in Georgia. And North Carolina it's another one. I would say North Carolina looks a little bit better for Republicans than Georgia does in 2028, although it's close. Virginia, that's another one you could argue. Maybe in this scenario, Trump against Obama, I think Obama would win. But Vance against like Tim Walz or something, I mean, Vance could win. But in this scenario, I think Obama would win. Obviously, West Virginia, all of these smaller states. New Hampshire is another one. You know, New Hampshire could be a 3 or 4 point victory for Obama, probably all these other states. New Jersey would be the one where it's like, I think New Jersey is going to be really competitive. Obama being the top, the top Democrat, I think he'd be able to hold on to New Jersey. All of these other states obviously going to Obama. New York would also go to Obama. I mean, relatively easily. Maybe it gets within 10, but still, it just depends. And then, so now we're talking about all the pure swing states. Believe it or not, I would give Georgia to Obama narrowly. I think with the you take a look at the black migration to Georgia with Obama. I mean, he'd definitely do better among blacks, possibly among Hispanics slightly, just because Trump did so well among them in 2024. It's kind of hard to replicate that, and there might be a swing back. A lot of this depends on how Trump does in this current administration. I mean, people expect Trump to just have an amazing, like, 2027, 2028. That's when the economy is going to get really good. Take a look at the domestic investment into the United States. I mean, now you've got the semiconductors coming in with Taiwan announcing their top company. I mean, they produce some $100 billion investment. This is crazy stuff. Trump with the tariffs, they're going to pay off. They will eventually help the U.S. in terms of economic growth because it's going to be more investment into the country. It's going to create more jobs for U.S. citizens. But taking a look at some of these other states, Arizona, certainly I think Arizona going to be a Republican state. It would be very surprising based off of the margin in 2024. Again, it depends on if Trump has a good administration, but 5-point win. It's not a lock for the Republican, but it looks pretty good. And Nevada, I think Nevada is a pure toss-up in a Trump versus Obama matchup, pure toss-up. Now, Nevada is shifting more Republican. Trump won it. I was a bit surprised by the margin. I mean, you don't want to read too much into it. It's like, well, if it's 1 or 3 points, what is it really? But it was like 3.5 points Trump won it by. Maybe it was 2.5, I don't know. But I think Trump probably narrowly wins Nevada as well. Arizona's probably 4 or 5. Nevada's probably about a 1-point victory in terms of that. North Carolina is another one. It's probably around 50-50. I would give North Carolina slightly to Trump. I don't think he's going to lose that. He's won North Carolina. It's pretty crazy. All 3, just like Ohio. And also, I think Florida as well. Yeah, all 3 times Trump is run. Imagine Trump runs a 4th time. It's just not going to happen. I mean, that is, you're talking like 2 decades worth of running. But I think Trump would win North Carolina. Then you've got Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. So this is the Rust Belt. Trump's sitting at 252. I would probably give Obama Michigan very narrowly. And then I would normally don't want to split these states up, but then I would give Trump both Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. And look, this is just the hypothetical funny matchup. I definitely think Obama would be more competitive than a lot of other Democrats. And this also depends. I mean, it depends on a number of factors, but just in general, if this was actually a matchup, how does Trump age? Because right now Trump is aging like a turtle. I mean, he looks the exact same. He looks better than he did in 2016 because he's lost like 20 pounds. His face is thinner. So listen, who knows? I do think Obama would perform well in Georgia. I mean, Obama would outperform Kamala unless Trump just had an amazing 2024 through 2028 administration. And he very well might have a really good 2027, 2028 period in terms of the economy. But again, the problem is his age and also the 22nd Amendment. there could be workarounds, but the main thing is the age. You're 82. How are you going to sell to people you're going to be 86? The same thing with Biden, but Trump is definitely aging better than Biden. And then the whole problem with the amendment, would liberals really go for that? Because you need like 2/3 support. It's very unlikely that, unless it's like, well, they have no one else outside of Obama and he wants to do it again. Technically, Obama, you could argue, already had a third term. With the Biden ghost presidency, which everyone knows Biden wasn't doing anything. Their aides admitted it. People say it was Obama. So either way, Trump is going to have serious impact on if Vance wins. There's no doubt about it. If it is Vance, I mean, right now I'd say Vance is certainly the favorite. It just depends on 3 years in politics. I mean, it's an eternity. It's a really long time. So who knows what Vance is going to look like? Although, I mean, he's the VP. It'd be kind of hard to envision a scenario unless shit really hit the fan to where Vance is a falling out with Trump. But yeah, so this would be like just a rough estimate. 280, certainly closer than the Kamala Trump race. But I mean, there are certain states for it's kind of a boring prediction. I guess you could maybe say for Republicans, you look at New Jersey, you look at New Hampshire. Democrats, it's just the same swing states. The problem for the Democrats is their math used to be so amazing, and like, you know, that Hillary election, even though she lost, they still had really good math, because you're talking about Florida being a swing state. You're talking about Ohio being a swing state. They were trying to turn Texas, and then we saw what happened now. It's like Texas is gone for them. But yeah, so this would be kind of a rough estimate. Just kind of a funny video. Yeah, it's just unlikely because of Trump's age. And also, I mean, he is ineligible right now. The Democrats could say, well, we've got nobody that we like, so let's just go with Obama and agree to repeal the amendment. But again, it's very unlikely. And this would be, I mean, with where things look right now, it would probably be Obama taking this fairly easily, although maybe it's like 5 points and then Trump takes the 2nd district in Maine. He won it by 10 points. But what I think they should do is just do away with that, and it's just winner take all for those 2 states. But it really doesn't matter because they just trade electoral votes in like a gerrymandering situation either way. If you look at it in terms of the districts. Again, Trump might actually be able to win just Maine in general. It's probably a little bit closer. But either way, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.